This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joshua Palmatier, and I am the founder of Zombies Need Brains, a small press that funds themed anthologies of science fiction and fantasy through Kickstarters. And we do have a Kickstarter going on right now. And one of our anchor authors for one of the anthologies is here today. It's Gini Koch. She's here to talk about her most recent release, Predator: Eyes of the Demon, because she's very excited about that because it's doing very well. And then we're going to talk about the Belcher series. She's written a bunch of short stories in the Belcher series for Zombies Need Brains and other anthologies. And then we're going to talk about what she plans on writing for the current anthology that she's an anchor author for, assuming, of course, the Kickstarter funds. Okay, so why don't you take it away, tell people where they can find you first online, and then talk about Predator: Eyes of the Demon.
Okay. I'm on many places online. www.ginikoch.com is my website. I'm on Facebook, Gini Koch, Gini Koch Hairspray and Rock and Roll, and author of the Alien Captain Kitty Cat series, which is my main series, which is from Dog Books. And I'm also on Twitter at Gini Koch. I'm on Pinterest. It looks like I'm on Instagram, but I'm really not. I got on it, and the first day it was great, and the second day I couldn't upload a picture, so I gave up after 4 hours and decided I'd just go back to writing. One day somebody young will drag me back onto Instagram, but until that point, stop sending me messages. I'm not seeing them. So I write under a variety of pen names as well, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm writing as Gini Koch in Predator: Eyes of the Demon. Isn't it pretty?
Very pretty.
It's very exciting. It was exciting to do a Predator story and get to be in a Predator anthology, but also this anthology went #1 on Audible, and a week after release went #1 on Amazon. So we're really excited about it, and obviously there was a lot of hunger out there for more Predator, which is great. The studio actually held the release until Prey came out, so it was really, really well timed. And at first we were all frustrated. It's like, why are you holding this? We killed ourselves to make all these deadlines, right? And then they said, well, the movie's coming out. We're like, oh, okay, you do you, right? Yeah. We got it. So that's been really great. It was a very interesting process too, because the parent, this came out through Titan Books, but the parent company is Disney. They own Predator now. And it's just very interesting to see how working, because you're used to working with a publisher, but then there's a studio overlay on top. And it was a really cool ride. The editor is Brian Thomas Schmidt, and he did a really great job, I think, of both getting good stories out of all of us and also really making that process a little less painful than it could have been if we hadn't been being shepherded, so to speak. But the stories are really fun. A lot of them, including mine, feature female Yautja. So you get a lot of female predators in there, which apparently the fan base was really excited for. A lot of the reviews are really excited about the fact that they're female. And in my story, mine is a team of mostly women who have been sent to, mine's set in the far future. And they've been sent to basically the brig, which is a ship in the Colonial Marines where it's where you send everybody who's screwed up and they're never getting out, and you send them for bad missions, and they're on a really, really bad mission. And my story is cannon fodder, which probably tells you all you need to know. So it was really a great ride. It's just really, really exciting to have a #1. So and a #1 in both Audible and paperback. It was really exciting. All the authors are really thrilled, and some of these people have been in like a lot of award-winning things. So it's kind of nice to see how excited they are too.
Well, it's rare for an anthology to actually become #1. I mean, novels.
Yes.
you know, that's just competition. But anthologies, it's very rare for anthologies to hit #1.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in this gig?
I know kind of like how I end up in most anthologies, which is either the editor reaches out or I know the editor and I'm like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'd love to be in this. In this case, I've been friends with Brian Thomas Schmidt for several years. And he's like, well, tell me, you know, I have this and this. What do you want? You know, what are you interested in? I don't know if it's happening. I don't know how many additional names, right? I'm like, well, I'd really like to do the Predator one. And he was able to get me in. And which was really, you know, it's really exciting. I'm in with a lot of big authors. You know, Jonathan Mayberry, Scott Sigler, Peter Briggs. And we all got to do our own versions of you know, the Predators and how they're killing, what they're killing, who they're killing, hunting. Pardon me, hunting. Who they're hunting.
Yeah.
You know, like the universe's top big game hunters. So it was really fun to get to do. So and yeah, so for me it was invitation. That whole anthology was invitation only. There was no open call on it. So I was very lucky to be one of those invited.
Yeah, most of those kinds of anthologies, there's no open call. It's pretty much so. But I was interested to see whether it was something like your agent managed to get you into it because your agent heard about it and put your name forward.
My agent got me into the other work for hire I've done, which was the X-Files Trust No One with Jonathan Mayberry was the editor, and my agent did get me into that. And she is who introduced me to Brian, so technically you could say that my agent got me into it. So.
Well, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, from, you know, me on the publishing side of things.
Right.
So let's shift to your Belcher stories. You've actually written quite a few short stories, and you've got in one of Zombies Need Brain's most recent anthologies, Brave New Worlds. You have a Belcher story in that one, and you also have it in a couple.
You can tell I'm reading it too because my bookmarks.
You got a bookmark.
Because we just got them as authors. We just got them a few days ago, the Kickstarter mass market. So I'm like, I'm reading this one right now. And this has what I would consider, this is the origin story for the Belcher's universe is in here, Little Big Planet. And it sets up really one of the main through characters in the Belcher series. The Belcher series is a series of loosely interconnected short stories. What they all share is the location. It's in the far, far future. We've expanded into our solar system because we've gotten short range warp down. It still takes time, but it doesn't take the time that it would. But we don't have we stopped worrying about long range warp because short range warp did everything. And, you know, all the movies told us that as soon as we did something like that, all these aliens would show up, and no one showed up. And so humanity's just like, fine, either we're being ignored or we're alone. So we're not going to worry about it. And everything's focused on our Solaris system. That's all anybody cares about now. Forget it. You know, we're out here alone. Everyone drop dead. And this actually has affected crime somewhat because humanity's finally figured out they're alone in this universe. And that means that they have to work together. Now, it hasn't eradicated crime, but it's a lot lower. I mean, there's police and military on every planet, lunar, and suspended city. But the big problem is piracy in the belt, because the belt is what's keeping the system alive. Are the belt miners and all of those people. And so I kind of look at the belt miners as being the indigent workers of this society. They're the people that are today are picking strawberries in Oxnard, California, or garlic up in Gilroy. but not getting any respect or their due for that. They might do well doing it, but they're not being treated like important citizens. And that's kind of how it is the belt. You can have a lot of money, but you're still considered a belter. And so they've got their whole system is a little bit different from everybody else's because they're out in the middle of nowhere. And, when you see the pictures, it looks like, oh, look, that's it. The pictures that show us our solar system and what the asteroid belt actually looks like, make it look all cozy, right? It's gigantic spaces and what they call the blackness. And so it's like it takes you long enough to get to one of Jupiter's moons. You don't really want to care what's out there. So Bozer Geist is the king of the pirate armada. It's like the Dread Pirate Roberts, only not funny, from Princess Bride, where it's a title, and when one Bozer Geist dies of old age, which can happen, or is captured, almost never, or killed, that's how we get rid of them. A new one just steps up because they've got shared learning. And the Galactic Police, that's their whole goal, is to really, they got to protect the miners. But if they could take down Bozer Geist, that's great. And if they could figure out where the pirate hideout is, that would be great. But space is vast, and they haven't yet. So in Little Big Planet, there's another danger that exists in the belt that in a lot of the other short stories, that's not there. When these get collected, which is going to be happening fairly soon, but I add this little bit of information back in, but there's a race of alien creatures that are created in Little Big Planet, and they are the other danger to the solar system, but they are a very different danger than Bozer Geist and his pirate armada. Yeah. And the reason I don't mention them, one of the other derelict, which is one of the last Zombie Needs Brains, has Saving Sally Ruth, and Gunfight on Europa Station, which is not a Zombie Needs Brains anthology, has Showdown on Big Rock 27. And all of these are set in the belt. Love and Rockets, which is an older anthology from Daw, has Wanted, and the Reinvented Heart has Go Where the Heart Takes You. And all of those are Belter stories. And they're all, like I said, they're loosely interconnected. You might see a character from one of the other stories show up, but they're very minor and supporting. But what you don't see in some of these is the mention of the Kalalula. And those are they're giant space squids. And there's a reason for how they get created and all these other things. But the reason why I don't mention them in the short stories that are published that are not yet in the Belters collection is because if you bring something up, you need to have a resolution to it, or it needs to be something that has a through line. The Kalalula have a through line through these stories, but it makes no sense to bring them up in Gunfight on Europa Station, right, when it's just a mention of this could be the danger, and then we go on. It makes your story in the anthology feel weird or off, whereas I can put those references back in the collection, and you've got a through line, so it makes sense. Like, oh, we saw them created in Little Big Planet, and now the next story, yes, of course, they're still out there, kind of thing. Yeah. And the editor who actually taught me to do that is you. You don't have to put everything about your world in because it's not serving this story correctly. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's very common with everybody, that especially somebody that already has a universe that they played in before, is you start writing your short story and it's just you want to put everything in there so people know what the world's like and whatnot. But no, for short stories, and I would say this even for novels, you really should only have the part of the world that they need to know for that particular story, and that's it. You got to keep it tight, keep it concise. So, so you're putting a collection together, but you don't know when that collection is going to be out yet, right?
I need to write, I think, no more than 2 more stories to round it out.
Yeah.
And the beauty of anthology calls and being in as an anchor author is that it gives you an opportunity to write a story that you want to write that you maybe haven't had time. And for any, for any aspiring authors out there, I remember when I had time. Okay. Gosh, it was lovely. And you think you'll always have that, and you won't. Okay. You just won't. Life intrudes, contracts are, once you start working under contracts, you're like, oh, yeah, no, that's a contract. So I need to get that done. Yeah. And so if I have a contract on something, I'm much more likely to focus on it than I need a filler story. And I don't ever look at any story as a filler. It has to fulfill a role in telling the story. It's not just here, bleh, right? It's got to have a reason. And I know what I want, because I'm actually telling, even though I've told it in sort of scattered ways, I'm telling a very distinct story that's going all the way through. And I probably want to do a second Belcher's collection too. My first story in this universe was Wanted, which came out in 2011. And I wrote it, and I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved the setting. And in 2011, I told my critique partner, I want to do more in this. And it took 9 years before I finally got calls. I got the Gunfight in Europa Station call and the Derelict call roughly around the same time. And all of a sudden I realized, wait, I can do Belcher's stories. And then I got the call for the Reinvented Heart. It was like, I can do that. I can do that. And then Brave New Worlds came up, and I'm like, oh my God, I can do that. Right? So it's been really great, but it doesn't fit every call. No. So, which moves us to the new one, a Darned Well Better Fund. But because I get to be in Dragonesque. And the story I'm writing with one of my other critique partners who's writing is Bibi Bayless, and we are doing this together. And part of why we're doing it together is that she has all this dragon stuff she's been working on. And, it's like, okay, started a novel here, started a different novel there, started this here, but she's done just tons of dragon stuff, right? And none of it's finished. None of it's complete yet. And so I get the call, and I immediately send an email saying, could I do this co-written? I'm going to lean on her for all this dragon stuff anyway, so she might as well get to help write it. So we're really excited. It's right now it's looking like this will be her first pro sale. So so she's very excited, and we're really excited about our stories. So the title that we've come up with is A King Arthur Dragon in Space Station 23's Court.
Okay.
So I like to riff on movie titles a lot. And a lot. And in this case, it's just like a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Somebody is sent through time. Only in our case, it's a dragon is sent through space and time and lands in a courtroom 2,000 years past his age. And because dragons are super smart, as far as we're concerned, he is able to very quickly adapt, and he is in the person who is accidentally helped finish the spell that calls him is a descendant of a very famous attorney who I'm not going to name because that's a spoiler, but it's a very famous attorney that she is descended from. And they are going to end up working together. And I already really love these characters, so this thing better happen, because I love these characters, and I already want to do more stuff with them. So
we should probably tell everybody. So as Gini said, the anthology is called Dragonesque, And the theme of this particular anthology is they're dragon stories, yes, but the twist is that it's got to be a story with at least a good chunk of it told from the dragon's point of view. And so that's the twist, is it can't just have a dragon. It's got to have a dragon's point of view interwoven in it somehow.
Yes.
So, and it sounds like you've certainly done that if you're transporting.
Oh, yes.
Time.
Yes. Yes. And he know, I mean, Kador is our dragon, and he is literally from King Arthur's time, and he knows everybody at court for reasons. And so those reasons are going to help him save the day, because there's a race of dragons. It's, you know, now we're now 2,000 years past Arthur. We've expanded into the stars and met all these new races, and one of them is a race of dragon people, basically. And a human is on trial in court for a grave insult, and he's an idiot. This human's an idiot, but he's part of how Kador gets pulled finally to a destination. And I just don't think someone should die for this, right? Because the sentence is death. So she's trying to save this guy's life, and he's an idiot, but he's fun to write. Idiots are fun to write because they just say stupid things, and you can have them say whatever you want, right? Yeah. So the person, the defendant, is a moron, but he's a cheerful, fun moron, and but he is not. We do have Tuckerizations, and for those that don't know what it is, I believe the man's first name is Charles, but we're going to call it Charles because I can't remember, but I think Charles Tucker was an author, and he decided to be, you know, fun and puckish, and he put his friends in things he was writing by name, and then he killed them, and soon everybody wanted to be Tuckerized, right? Ooh, oh, look, Charles put me in. I'm this horrible matron who got, you know, stabbed in the first act, right? That kind of thing. And they've become a thing, and authors do it all the time. And as a way to fund the Kickstarter, many of us offer Tuckerizations, and I am one of them because names are hard. And I really like, especially, you know, right now people are thinking names aren't hard. Yeah, but I have over 500 named characters in the Alien series alone. And I have over 70 titles. So no, that's a lot of names, and I can't reuse major names, at least not as much as someone would think. I'll reuse a Tuckerized name though all the time, as Team Tuckerization knows. So if you read my stuff, you're like, wow, there's really a lot of this name in it. Yeah, they're part of Team Tuckerization. They paid money to be in there. One of the things I do differently from most authors who Tuckerize, they really do kill the character off. You're basically paying to die in some way. I just can't do it. Somebody paid money to be in my story. I can't kill them, so I don't. If there's a Tuckerized name that dies, it's either because everyone in the story is dying. My story for Submerged, which is a Zombie Needs Brain story, was a mythos story. So it was, you know, Eldritch horror, and no one survives that. So everybody died in that. But if you're not in a horror story of mine, you're probably going to make it. You're either going to be a main or a major supporting character and live through the whole thing. And that includes if I'm doing this as a series. So hint for those who are on the fence. Like I said, this is a brand new story. It's not in any of my existing IPs, and it's not it, and yet BB and I really love these characters, and we're already talking about, you know, ooh, for the next installment, and then the next installment. So, you know, get in on the ground floor and be one of the characters that we see over and over and over again.
Yes. Yep, and you're also, besides the Tuckerizations, you are also offering up some alien swag bags in the Kickstarter as well. So explain what your alien swag bags are.
The alien swag bag is you get a complete set of postcards that are all signed and personalized to you or whoever you want them to, a set of cover magnets, and a set of book plates for the series. And depending, I may, you know, generously toss a book in there too. That's depending, right? So a book could be in there. That's not officially on the thing, but I'm just saying a book could be included. So it's definitely something that it'll be nice to have. We aren't offering a lot of them because it's a lot. That's a lot of signing. It takes some serious time. So, but yeah, but they are out there. Like I said, a book could be included. Maybe.
So yeah, if you want to see Ginny and BB's dragon story, then we need to make that Kickstarter fund. I'm happy to announce that we are halfway there, but halfway isn't all the way.
No, it's not.
So if you are interested in the Kickstarter, we have the Dragonesque anthology. We also have 3 others that we're trying to fund in the same Kickstarter. So the other 3 are Artifice and Craft, which is going to be edited by David Koch and Edmund Schubert, and that one's basically magical artifacts. We also have Solar Flare, which is solar punk stories. And then the last one that's in this Kickstarter is called Game On, and it's a story centered around like games and RPGs and things like that. So those are the 4 that we're offering in this Kickstarter. But again, if you want to see Ginny and BB's story, you got to help us get it funded. You can find us at tinyurl.com/ZNB Kickstarter 2022. So swing on by the Kickstarter, check out all of the rewards we have. Ginny's Alien swag bag, the Tuckerizations, okay, and then a ton of other potential reward levels there to choose from as well. So swing on by, back us, and help us get to our funding goal. And if you happen to be a writer, all of the ZNB anthologies do open calls for submissions. So half of the anthology is anchor authors like Ginny, and the other half is filled with people we find from the open call. So you could technically be in one of the anthologies if you send us a good story and we pick it out of the slush. So keep watch on the Kickstarter for that reason, and because as soon as we get fully funded, we do the open calls. So keep an eye on that as well. So I want to thank you for being here with us today and telling us a little bit about your Predator anthology. Everybody go out and buy the Predator anthology. Also your Belcher series, all the books in the Belcher series, and the upcoming, I guess it's a compilation of all of the Belchers.
Yeah.
And with some new ones too, it sounds like.
Yes.
And what you know, at least at this point, about your story for Dragonesque. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully I'll see everybody else on the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Okay.